Okay, we're gonna have some fun today. Good day to you all, and we're gonna be doing an album review, and this one's a little in depth. Special thanks to my friend Megan for requesting me to do this album. This is the album Hammerheart by Bathory. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to check it out right now before you listen to my review, or you can check it out after I review it. I enjoyed this album for sure, although there were some areas I didn't really dig too much. The overall of the album was pretty good. It's not the worst album out there. It definitely takes you to the dark side of the fantasy world, but adds element of thrash, old school, and even a bit of black metal into it, like old school black metal. And yeah, it has a bit of progression in many of its songs, and yeah, it's quite enjoyable actually. We start off with a song called "Shores and Flames." It's about 11 minutes long, and it begins with an ambiance of waves, along with a really nice guitar intro. It starts off pretty soft, actually. It's a great way to open up an album. Eventually, softer vocals come in as the guitar is still going on, and as it progresses, the vocals get stronger, and the guitars as well get quite stronger too. The reverb in the vocals add a really cool dark fantasy effect. The song gets heavier about 3 minutes in, and we are introduced with a heavy against the grain guitar riff, which sounds really cool. The vocalist resembles somewhat of a Gregorian style through parts of the song. If you don't know what that is, feel free to look it up right now or after the video. I can't control what you do, so do what you want. But yeah, he resembles this Gregorian style vocal through parts of the song. He often gets much heavier uh, throughout the choruses and whatnot. Um, Very cool progressive changes throughout the song keeps you listening for sure. In the song, I love the soft to heavy progression. It's very slow and it's very like it builds up, and the build up is definitely worth it. It's a great kickoff song for the album for sure. It's a great way to introduce me to the album. I haven't heard much of the band myself, so it was a great icebreaker, I guess you can call it. The vocals weren't in the vocals weren't done in the absolute best quality, but it is nowhere near in the way of the song, as the vocals are still fantastic. It kind of resembles the early Slayer or Metallica, where the vocals aren't the best quality, but they're still okay. Like they're still pretty good. You can still enjoy the music, and you can still enjoy the vocals in the music, even though it's not the best quality. Yeah. The first song is quite progressive. The difference is the well, this okay, so yeah. This song is or we get into the next song, which is called Valhalla. Like the first song, it's progressive, but the difference is it starts off with a heavier and grittier sound as it gets into a much faster progression than the first song. It's really good. It resembles a lot of old school thrash, but like I said, mixed with a bit of old school black metal into it. The lead vocals are much heavier in this song, while some parts have that Gregorian-like vocal sound in the background. But it tends to harmonize really well with everything else in the song. Definitely a song I recommend off the album for sure. Uh, Sorry guys, I'm just trying to remember. But yeah, it's definitely a song I recommend off the album. Another song with the Gregorian vocals harmonizing with the thrashy guitar is Baptist Fire and Ice. That song was alright. I didn't enjoy it as much as Valhalla, but it did have some good parts throughout the song. Some of the lead vocals I wasn't too crazy about, in this song at least. I also would have liked to hear the Gregorian chants a bit more clearly in the chorus. It was a little, you couldn't really hear it as much, and it kind of, yeah, I didn't dig that too much, you know. I didn't, But all in all, it's an okay song. It's a decent song. You know, another decent track. It has a very cool Gregorian chant and guitar riff combination. The drums in this track definitely stood out most. The song is called "Father to Son," and once again, it's a decent song. It's pretty. It's good. It's not necessarily bad, but it's not their best off the album. Well, as far as I've heard into it, you know. Then we get into the shortest song on the album, entitled "Song to Haul Up the High," which starts off really soft and mellow. Although the song is much lighter than the songs we have heard so far, it's a pretty good song. And it really adds the element of emotion, which I really dig. And yeah, it has that emotion and sadness, but that darkness at the same time, which is quite cool. I've always liked that. I've always liked that in metal. That element added in metal is key. It's fantastic. But after this song, the song's only 2 or 3 minutes long. Then we get back into the more heavier side of things with "Home of the Once Brave." This is a really good song. The lead vocals in this track are kind of different than most of the songs. He has a slightly lighter voice at times, but it goes surprisingly well with the heavy guitar riff and the drum line. I will point out that the guitar isn't really focused on in this song. You can hear it, but it's not the main focus. I think the guitar should be brought up just a little bit, but the vocal tracks definitely cover up the that one minor flaw. This is definitely another great song off the album I recommend. It's heavy, but it also, once again, it adds that element of emotion, but also that element of empowerment, which is amazing. Then we get into a longer track called "Road to Asa Bay." Wasn't sure how to pronounce that quite, but deal with it. But yeah, this song also has an intro of ambiance, and this goes on into a pulsation that suddenly stops after a minute, and we are introduced with a harmony of an acoustic guitar, an electric guitar, and once again Gregorian chant. Once the drum line kicks in, the song gets pretty cool. In this song, the instrumentation is pretty decent. However, I wasn't too crazy about the vocals. The other thing I wasn't too crazy about was the lack of the. There wasn't really much change in the progression. If it's going to be a really long song, I would much prefer it to be a bit more progressive. Although there were some areas where things took a bit of a turn, but it would eventually just go back to that one continuous progression, which gets a little repetitive over time. I will say the intro and outro to this song are pretty good, though. All in all, it's an okay song. I would give it about a 5 out of 10. We then move on to the outro of the album, which is just 20 seconds of ambiance. And yeah, that pretty much ends it. But yeah, all in all, it was a decent album. Like I said, it wasn't necessarily bad, but it wasn't the best. Maybe if I check out more of the band, check out more of their work, maybe I might find something a little more enjoyable. But this album was pretty good. You know, it's something you could enjoy. It's something I definitely recommend. So do feel free to check it out on whatever you have. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned next week for my top 50. Or sorry, guys, my top 10 metal albums of 2015 so far, and that's going to be a fun one. Please do stay tuned for that.